A journey of 4 billion years. Imagine having the power to travel back in time. If you went back about 300,000 years, you would encounter modern humans, Homo sapiens, much like us. But if you want to discover where our story truly began, you would need to travel back not millions, but billions of years. The Earth we live on today did not always look the way it does now. Around 4.5 billion years ago, our planet was a giant ball of fire. Molten lava covered its surface, and there was absolutely no sign of life. At that time, it would have been impossible to imagine that one day intelligent beings like humans would emerge here. As time passed, Earth gradually began to cool. Its molten surface hardened into rock. But even then, there was no water and no breathable atmosphere. Meanwhile, countless asteroids and meteorites were traveling through space. Some were made of metal, others of rock, and many contained ice and water. For millions of years, these objects bombarded the young Earth. Scientists refer to this period as the Late Heavy Bombardment. When ice-rich meteorites collided with Earth, their ice melted into water. Over time, vast amounts of water accumulated on the planet's surface, laying the foundation for the world's oceans.
In the beginning, this water was relatively fresh. However, over billions of years, minerals and chemical elements released by volcanic activity dissolved into the oceans, gradually making them salty. At that time, Earth was almost entirely covered by water. Later, volcanic eruptions beneath the oceans began creating new land masses, and for the first time, the earliest continents started to take shape. The stage was now set for life to emerge. Deep within the oceans, where temperatures and chemical conditions were favorable, simple molecules began forming more complex structures. After millions of years of chemical evolution, microscopic organisms appeared that could replicate themselves. This is considered the beginning of life on Earth. Over time, some microorganisms developed the ability to obtain energy from sunlight. Among the most important were cyanobacteria. Through photosynthesis, these organisms began releasing oxygen into the atmosphere. Gradually, oxygen levels increased, transforming the planet.
However, these changes also contributed to several dramatic ice ages throughout Earth's history. For billions of years, evolution continued. Single-celled organisms evolved into multicellular life forms. The oceans became home to an incredible variety of creatures. Among them were some of the earliest organisms that began developing structures similar to a backbone. Around 500 to 600 million years ago, marine life had become remarkably diverse. Countless species, both large and small, filled the oceans. Yet the land remained almost barren. The problem was that the sun's harmful ultraviolet radiation reached Earth's surface unhindered. Later, as oxygen accumulated in the atmosphere, an ozone layer formed, protecting the planet from these dangerous rays. About 450 million years ago, plants made the first move from the oceans onto land. Initially, they were small and simple, but over time, they evolved into vast forests. A few million years later, some fish also began venturing onto land. One famous example was Tiktaalik, a creature that scientists consider an important transitional link between fish and land-dwelling animals. Land offered new food sources and opportunities, so many organisms gradually adapted to life outside the water.
Over time, these creatures evolved into amphibians and later, reptiles. Massive forests spread across the planet, and life continued to diversify rapidly. But nature never remains the same forever. About 250 million years ago, Earth experienced the largest mass extinction event in its history. Intense volcanic activity and dramatic climate change wiped out the majority of species on the planet. The survivors would go on to shape a new world. Then came the age of the dinosaurs. Around 200 million years ago, dinosaurs had become the dominant rulers of Earth. Some were small, while others were gigantic. Some were herbivores, while others were fearsome predators. For nearly 160 million years, they dominated the planet. Then, one day, everything changed. About 66 million years ago, a massive asteroid struck Earth. The impact was so powerful that it triggered global fires, darkness, and widespread devastation. But small mammals survived, and those small mammals would eventually become the planet's new rulers. Over millions of years, mammals evolved into many different forms. Some adapted to life in the trees, eventually giving rise to the first primates. Around 7 million years ago, the evolutionary branch that would lead to humans began separating from the common ancestor shared with chimpanzees. As climate changes reduced forest cover, many early human ancestors were forced onto open land. Walking on two legs proved to be a major advantage. Over time, they developed stone tools, learned how to hunt, and eventually mastered the use of fire. Then, about 300,000 years ago, modern humans, Homo sapiens, appeared. They possessed advanced brains, language, imagination, and an extraordinary ability to learn. Gradually, they spread from Africa to every corner of the world.
Around 40,000 years ago, humans began making better clothing. About 10,000 years ago, agriculture emerged. Villages formed, then cities, and eventually, entire civilizations. The invention of the wheel, irrigation systems, metallurgy, writing, and science propelled human society forward. And today, we are the result of a journey that began billions of years ago in Earth's ancient oceans. From a single simple cell to a species capable of reaching space. This may be one of the most extraordinary stories in the universe. Who knows how much humanity will continue to change over the next thousands or even millions of years? Perhaps future humans will look back at us the same way we look at our distant ancestors today. If you enjoyed this journey through time, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more videos like this.